Hare Krishna. Welcome to our program. Our speaker of the day is Shriman Gaurang Darshan Prabhu. He has done his master's degree from the prestigious Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore. Prabhuji is a disciple of His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj, who is a senior disciple of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. He is also a member of ISKCON Examination Board and takes classes on Srimad Bhagavatam, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita and Vaishnav etiquettes. He has written elaborate workbooks on Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita, with which the students can dive into intricacies of these great scriptures. He is a compiler of many other educational booklets and magazines, thus helping the seekers of Bhagavad knowledge. In all, he is a living encyclopedia of scriptures preaching the science all over the world, and who is exemplary and lives whatever he preaches. Come, let's hear him and try to imbibe the essence of scriptures as presented by him. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. In the last 3 episodes, we have discussed the Venu Gita up to the 15th shloka. Venu Gita appears as the 21st chapter of the 10th canto. And in this Venu Gita, the gopis of Vrindavan were remembering all the beautiful activities of Krishna in the forest of Vrindavan. Krishna takes all the cows and cowherd boys and enters the autumn forest of Vrindavan, and while entering, he plays his enchanting flute. And that enchanting flute attracts the minds of gopis. Although the gopis are staying in the village and Krishna is staying in the forest, going into the forest and residing in the forest throughout the day, still, because gopis' minds are completely absorbed in love for Krishna, they can hear Krishna's flute although they are so far away from Krishna. Their hearts are so near although their bodies are so far. So, this flute sound of Krishna was enchanting not only the gopis, it was so attractive to the peacocks of Vrindavan and the rivers of Vrindavan. Rivers of Vrindavan got attracted to Krishna's flute song, and they were embracing Krishna's feet with their arms of waves, and they were offering so many gifts to Krishna in the form of lotus flowers. And the cows were attracted to Krishna, and they, with their upraised ears, they were drinking the nectarian vibrations coming from Krishna's flute. And the calves were attracted to Krishna's flute song, and the calves were drinking milk from their cows, from their mother's udders, but they were getting distracted. The milk that they were drinking was coming out from their mouths because they were attentive more to Krishna's flute song. And the demigoddesses who were traveling in the airplanes, they were also getting attracted to Krishna. And the demigods and the demigoddesses who were traveling in the airplanes, they were just hearing the musical performance of Krishna, who was herding cows in Vrindavan. And the song of Krishna's flute also attracted all the birds. The birds, although they are fickle and restless by nature, they became like sages with closed eyes. They were sitting on tree branches and they were meditating on Krishna's flute song. In this way, Krishna's flute attracted all the human beings and non-human beings, birds and animals, and including rivers in Vrindavan. And this flute is so fortunate. The flute is a bamboo stick with some holes in it. The forefathers of this flute, which are the bamboo bushes or bamboo trees that are growing on the banks of river Yamuna, these forefathers became so happy. They are so happy that, oh, our descendant, this flute, became so fortunate to enter the hands of Krishna, and Krishna is playing it. So, out of great ecstasy and happiness, the forefathers of the flute, that is the bamboo trees, they were shedding tears. What is their tears? Their tears are the sap that comes out of the trees, that is considered the tears of the trees. The trees are so happy. And the river, the water bodies that nourish the trees, that water bodies are considered the mother of the flute. The mother of the flute is water bodies, the river, and the father or forefathers of the flute are these trees. So, both of them became so happy. So, the trees became so happy and they were shedding tears of joy in the form of sap, and mother river became so happy, mother became so ecstatic, mother's hairs were standing on end. What are the hairs of this mother river? That is the waves and the lotus flowers that grow in the rivers. So, they were coming out in joy just hearing Krishna playing this flute. That is the fortune of flute. Although flute is so dry, it can moisten the eyes of all the sincere listeners of this flute song of Krishna. Although the flute is hollow, still it can hold so many ragas that mesmerize all the residents of three planetary systems. That is the speciality of Krishna's flute. In the next shloka, the gopis of Vrindavan were saying, they were glorifying Krishna's flute song and the effect of that flute song on the summer cloud. In the autumn season, the rains subside and slowly the sun starts shining more and more. So, at that time, the sun, the clouds that are formed by the sun, they were right above Krishna trying to give him shade, attracted by Krishna's flute. The gopis said, Drishtva tape vraja pashun saharama gopaihi sancharayantam anuvenu mudirayantam prema pravruddha uditaha kusumavalibihi sakhyurvyadhat svavapusham buddha atapatram. The gopis of Vrindavan were saying in this shloka that the cloud became compassionate and sympathetic to Krishna. Krishna and all the gopas and all the cows were staying in the forest during the day, and this hot sun, the autumn sun, was causing so much heat, and these people were perspiring. Krishna was perspiring and Balaramji and all the gopas were perspiring. So, the cloud took compassion on Krishna, and cloud came just above Krishna where Krishna is there, and cloud started showering very mild rains, very cool drizzles, so that Krishna could be relieved of this heat of autumn season, heat of the sun. And also the cloud, when it came on top of Krishna where Krishna and all the gopas were staying, the cloud also gave shadow. So, the sunlight is not directly hitting Krishna, the cloud is forming an umbrella above Krishna so that Krishna will not be affected by the sun's rays. So, that is how cloud is also serving Krishna. So, the gopis are saying the cloud is serving Krishna, and deer and other animals are getting attracted to Krishna, even lower animals are getting attracted to Krishna, and the demigoddesses, the higher people from higher planets, they are also getting attracted to Krishna. When the demigods are attracted to Krishna's flute song and the lower animals are attracted to Krishna's flute song, we human beings in the middle, the gopis of Vrindavan, we are deprived of hearing Krishna's flute song directly. The gopis were feeling so bad because of so many restrictions of social customs and other protocols and principles that are governing a Vedic society. The gopis are not allowed to go to the forest along with Krishna and Balaram and enjoy all the pastimes of Krishna in the forest. In the forest, Krishna would be dancing, Krishna would be playing flute, Krishna would be singing, Krishna would be spending a lot of time with all the other gopas and playing so many games. But the gopis were feeling separation from Krishna. In such deep separation from Krishna, they were remembering the activities of Krishna, they were hearing the flute song of Krishna through their mind, their spiritual minds, and they are missing this whole experience and they are so morose. Oh, we don't have the opportunity. The residents of higher planets have the opportunity and the lower animals have the opportunity, but we don't have the opportunity to go to Vrindavan and see Krishna as he is doing his pastimes. The gopis are further saying, Purnaha Pulinja Urugaya Padabjaraga Shrikunkumena Daita Stanamanditena Taddarshana Smara Rujastrana Rushitena Limpantya Anana Kucheshu Jahustadadhim. The gopis said that there are Pulinga women or the aborigine women who stay close to the forests. The gopis of Vrindavan, they stay in the village of Vrindavan, and there are some aborigine women who stay away from the village close to the forests. So these people, these aborigine women, they sometimes see the footprints of Krishna in the forest of Vrindavan. As Krishna is walking on the forests of Vrindavan, he would imprint his beautiful footprints on the land of Vrindavan. That is the wealth of Vrindavan. Nobody would disturb these footprints. These footprints are the greatest wealth of the land of Vrindavan, and because of possessing these footprints, the glory of Vrindavan is spread throughout the earthly planet, and the earthly planet became so fortunate and famous because of having Vrindavan on its surface. Thus, the Pulinga women or the aborigine women, the tribal ladies, so they would get an opportunity to see this beautiful lotus footprints, and they will take dust from the lotus footprints of Krishna, and they will take the kumkum and they will put on their heads and their bodies, and they become so happy. Even Pulinga women or aborigine women also have access to Krishna's foot dust, and they are so fortunate enough to receive this dust and become so happy and spiritually enlivened. The gopis are thinking, we are in separation, we do not have that opportunity, we do not have that privilege of taking the dust of Krishna's lotus feet, we cannot see Krishna's footprints in the forest of Vrindavan. In separation, they are thinking a lot about their beloved Lord Krishna. Actually, their minds are completely immersed in love for Krishna, and actually there is no measurement for love. So, love cannot be measured in certain units. Love is measured according to the amount of separation that the lover feels for the beloved. The gopis of Vrindavan are so attracted to Krishna, they love Krishna so much that they constantly feel separation from Krishna. They are feeling separation from Krishna not only when Krishna is away in the forest of Vrindavan during the day, they feel separation from Krishna even when Krishna is standing right in front of them also. Even within one eye blink also, they feel billions of yugas of separation from Krishna. They cannot tolerate the amount of time that is needed to blink an eye, which is often unnoticeable by average people. They even chastise and criticize the creator Brahma for creating these eyelids which are constantly closing the eyes every now and then. So, Brahmaji does not know how to create bodies. He should take training from us. The gopis are thinking like this because of their deep separation from Krishna. So, in that separation, they are remembering all the activities of Krishna done in the forest and how the flute song of Krishna had an effect on all these people. Further, the gopis of Vrindavan glorified the greatest of all servants of Krishna, that is Govardhan mountain. The gopis said, Hantaya madrirabala haridasa varyo yad Rama Krishna charana sparasha prabodaha manam tanoti sahago ganayostayor yad pani yasuya vasakandara kandamulaihi. The gopis said, Hantayam Adrir Abala Haridasa Varyo. I am Adrir. Look at this mountain, oh dear gopis. The gopis are telling the other gopis, Hanta Ayam Adri Abala. Oh Abalas, oh ladies, look at this great mountain. This great mountain Govardhan is Haridasa Varya. Hari is Lord Krishna and Dasa is servant of Lord Krishna. Haridasa Varya means the best of all servants of Krishna. Krishna has unlimited servants in the spiritual planets and in the material planets. In the material planets also there are so many great devotees who are constantly willing to render service to Krishna, and of course in the spiritual planets all the residents are eternal servants of Krishna only. Thus, Krishna receives a lot of service from so many servants, innumerable servants, but Govardhan is considered the best of all servants, because Govardhan is there in this holy land of Vrindavan, and Vrindavan is the topmost abode of Krishna, the dearest abode of Krishna. Aradhyo Bhagavan Vrajesha Tanayas Tadhama Vrindavanam. It is said by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that Aradhyo Bhagavan, our supreme worshipable Lord, is Vrajesha Tanaya, the son of Nanda Maharaj, that is Krishna. Tadhama Vrindavanam, and the supreme abode which is worshipable by all of us is Vrindavan Dham, which is the eternal abode of Krishna. Thus, Vrindavan is the eternal abode. Within Vrindavan there is this Govardhan mountain, and Govardhan mountain is so dear to Krishna. Govardhan mountain is considered Haridasa Varya, the best of all servants. And who is saying this? The Gopis of Vrindavan are saying this. Gopis of Vrindavan are the topmost of all the devotees of Krishna. There are devotees of Krishna in different rasas. There is Shanta Rasa, Dasya Rasa, Vatsalya Rasa, then Sakhya Rasa, then Madhurya Rasa. Shanta Rasa means loving God without much active service. And Dasya Rasa means loving God or serving God in the mood of a servant, a menial servant. And Sakhya Rasa means loving Krishna in the mood of a friend. Vatsalya Rasa means loving Krishna in the mood of a parent, like Nanda Maharaj, Yashoda Mata. And Madhurya Rasa means loving the God as a conjugal lover, as a consort, that is the Gopis of Vrindavan. Of all these five rasas, of all the devotees in these five rasas, the devotees in Madhurya Rasa are the topmost. They are the Gopis of Vrindavan. And these topmost devotees, the Gopis, they are acknowledging that Govardhan is the topmost of all the servants of Krishna. Hantaya Madri Rabala Haridasa Varyu. What is the speciality of Govardhan? Yad Rama Krishna Charanas Parasha Pramodaha. Krishna and Balaram, along with the cowhead boys and the cows, would go to Govardhan mountain, and they walk, they climb on the Govardhan mountain, they sit on the rocks of Govardhan, they enter the caves of Govardhan, they relish the waterfalls of Govardhan, and they eat the fruits and roots that grow on Govardhan. Krishna is walking on the surface of Govardhan mountain. The touch of Krishna's lotus feet is making Govardhan so ecstatic. Govardhan is so ecstatic just by the touch of the lotus feet of Krishna and Balaram. Yad Rama Krishna Charana Sparsha. Charana is lotus feet and Sparsha is touch. Charana Sparsha Pramodaha. It's ecstatic joy for Govardhan to touch. Govardhan actually became so joyful just by the touch of Krishna's finger. When Indra became so angry on the Vrajavasis, he caused a devastating rainfall in Vrindavan. At that time, Krishna was just 7 years old. He lifted Govardhan mountain. He lifted with his left hand, and he kept the Govardhan mountain on his little finger of left hand. And the touch of Krishna's this finger made Govardhan so ecstatic. Although Indra is pouring down so much rains and he is putting lot of hailstorms, still Govardhan was not at all affected, because Govardhan is in touch with Krishna. Govardhan is so ecstatic. Thus, Govardhan is considered the best of all servants, and Govardhan is ecstatically rendering services to Krishna and Balaram. And not only Krishna and Balaram, Govardhan is rendering services to all the associates of Krishna and Balaram also. Govardhan renders services to the Gopas of Vrindavan and the cows and calves of Vrindavan and bulls of Vrindavan also. Yad Rama Krishna Charanas Parasha Pramodaha Manam Tanoti Sahago Ganayostayoryat. Manam Tanoti means Govardhan is offering respects to Krishna and Balaram. Sahago Ganayoho, along with all the cows and cowhead boys. And how Govardhan is rendering service to Krishna? The last line of this shloka says, Paniya Suya Vasakandara Kandamulaihi. Paniya means water. There is sweet, transparent, nectarian waters in the waterfalls and water bodies that are there on Govardhan mountain. Krishna and Balaram and all the cows would drink this water and they relieve themselves of thirst. Thus, Govardhan renders service to Krishna with this water. Paniya. Suyavasa. Suyavasa means soft grasses. There are soft grasses that grow on the surface of Vrindavan. The cows and the calves of Krishna, they eat these grasses and they become so nourished, they are so satisfied, and they give very fresh, fragrant and sweet milk by eating these grasses because the cows are so nourished. So Govardhan is rendering service to the cows of Krishna by providing grasses. Paniya Suyavasa Kandara. Kandara means the caves of Vrindavan. In monsoon, whenever there is heavy rain, Krishna, Balaram and all the Gopas would enter the caves of Vrindavan, caves of Govardhan, and take shelter there. So as the rain is falling, these people, Krishna and Balaram, are inside the caves, they protect themselves from rain, and after that they will come out and they continue their pastimes. So thus Paniya Suyavasa Kandara Kandamulaihi. There are so many fruits and plants in Vrindavan, so in Govardhan, and with these fruits and plants, Govardhan is rendering service to Krishna and Balaram. Thus Govardhan offers so many services to Krishna and Balaram, and the gopis are glorifying Govardhan as Haridasa Varya, the best of all servants of Krishna. In the last shloka of Venugita, the gopis said, Ga gopakairanu vanam nayatorudara Venusvanaihi kalapadaihi tanubhrutsu sakhyaham Aspandanam gatimatam pulakastarunam Niryoga pashakrita lakshanayor vichitram Ga gopakai ranuvanam nayator udara. The gopis of Vrindavan said that Krishna and Balaram, they carry some ropes. They have very special ropes to control the cows, to control the calves. Sometimes they have to tie the cows, tie the calves, and these ropes are silken ropes. They are so shining and they are so beautiful. And at the end of these ropes, there are some pearls. So these ropes are carried by Krishna and Balaram on their shoulders at times, and sometimes Krishna and Balaram would also put these ropes on their turbans. They tie their turbans along with these ropes. So thus Krishna and Balaram are performing such enchanting pastimes, and that creates a very wonderful scene in Vrindavan. And remembering all these beautiful pastimes of Krishna and Balaram in Vrindavan, the gopis are in ecstasy. Gopis are the perfect examples of Krishna consciousness. Gopis are the ideal examples of Krishna consciousness. They are constantly absorbed in the thoughts of Krishna throughout the day. Yado hane vahanane mathanopalepa Prenkankhanar bharudito ksanamarjanado Gayanti chainamanurakta dhiyo shrukanthyo Dhanya vrajastriya urukrama chittayanaha. The gopis are glorified in this way. Ya dohane, while they are milking the cows. Vahanane, while threshing grains. Mathana, while churning milk. Mathana. Upalepa, while painting their walls and floors with a mixture of cow dung and clay. And they are putting some rangoli, some designs on that cow dung floor. So, yadohane, vahanane, mathanopalepa, prenkankhana. They are swinging on swings. They put a rope on the tree and they start swinging. That is their play. Prenkankhana, arbharudita. Some of these gopis are mothers of small babies. When the small babies are crying, gopis take care of them. Arbharudita. Marjanadav, ukshana marjanadav. They sprinkle their courtyards with water mixed with cow dung. And marjana, they clean the floors of Vrindavan. While doing all these simple household activities, these innocent gopis, these damsels of Brajabhumi, what do? Gayanti chaina manurakta dhiyoshru kanthyo. With their intelligence and with their voices steeped in love and devotion for Krishna, they are constantly glorifying Krishna. They are singing the qualities and pastimes of Krishna. Gayanti chaina manurakta dhiyoshru kanthyo dhanya vrajastriya urukrama chittayanaha. Dhanya, who can be more fortunate than the gopis of Vrindavan, because their chitta, their consciousness is constantly immersed in Krishna consciousness. They are the ideal example of Krishna consciousness. Thus, the gopis glorified the song of Krishna's flute in this Venu Gita because they are constantly thinking about Krishna throughout the day. They are there in Krishna's presence, although Krishna is so far away from them in the forest. Hare Krishna.
For more such devotional programs, please watch Hare Krishna television. To get this channel, please contact your cable or DTH operator. For more information, please call 8767 845 845.